Hey up troops, A Littleton here again with another video, and we're doing the opposite of what we did a few days ago. It's time for the attacker tier list. Now, I'm looking at it in front of me because I'm recording this after I've already done the tier list, and I was a bit worried with the attackers at first. I was like, how many of these are going to get into S tier? And then before the end of it, I was like, hang on, I think I'm putting too many into S and A tier here. I think maybe a few need to come down. But it was an interesting one, this, because I feel the defenders are incredibly powerful at the moment, which they are, obviously, Fenrir, Soulless, Army, etc. Tubro, and I'm thinking, oh, the attackers got what have they got? They haven't got much going for them at the minute, do we? Need some attacker buffs. And then I've been going through this and I'm thinking, you know what, actually we've got a lot of good attackers here. Like, I've got a lot of operators in the A category on this tier list, which you'll see if you carry on watching. But anyway, that's enough waffling. What makes this interesting is the grenade change, because a couple of operators who used to be solid because you could grenade from below and get free kills, now you can't. Are they still as good? Who knows? That's what we're going to talk about. Enough waffling. I've had enough. I know you've had enough. Let's just get stuck into it. Right then, attackers. Now, I know I mentioned this at the beginning, but it's really worthwhile mentioning again. The nade change will definitely affect the order here. So we're going to do things in order of release again, just like we did the defender tier list, which we released a few days ago. Go and have a look at that if you haven't seen it. Bear with me. Little drink. Probably should have done that before I started recording, but here we are. We do everything in one take. So, Sledge. Straight up there for me, I think. Don't forget, by the way, I know we're talking about the nade change. It doesn't mean that now nades are useless. Nades are still very, very useful. They just need to be used in a different way. They have a different purpose now to just nading from below mostly. I think Thatcher. Sorry, I haven't even mentioned Sledge there. I've not said anything about him. Just the all-round goat, isn't he? Can do many different things. The vertical play. Making easy rotates, great gun, nades, pocket EMPs, don't forget as well. Yeah, just an all-round. He's the mute of attack for me. I really like Sledge. Thatcher, I think, also goes in here as well. Now, the reason I put Thatcher here is when people think of Thatcher, you mostly think just wall denial, don't you? Like, oh, they've got a Cade or a Bandit, I need a Thatcher. Forget the walls just for them. Obviously, that's the obvious thing to use with Thatcher, but forget the walls just for a moment. Think about how many gadgets could potentially be on a doorway that you've got to walk through, or an area that you've got to take, with the way that the game is at the minute in terms of the how strong. I should have had more of a drink. I tried to power through then. I've got a bit of a rusky chest. I tried to power through then. I should have just stopped and had a drink. Think about how strong the defenders have got. The defenders are at the minute, especially with the likes of Fenrir, etc. Azami is normally protected by a couple of ADSs or a WMI, so just remember that Thatcher does a lot more than just deny Cade or Bandit. Sorry about that. Twitch. Twitch is suffering with major F2 syndrome at the moment. However, I think she still finds herself in B because those Twitch drones are so good. Just being able to whiz... I mean, I know Twitch drones are one of the oldest gadgets in the book, but at the moment, being able to get rid of all that utility, which is... a bit like what I was just talking about with Thatcher, the amount of stuff the defenders are going to bring. I just think Twitch is so good these days. And also, I think she's a little bit forgotten. It used to be that if you were playing Clubhouse, you would watch the drone hole next to the main breach on CCTV because you're like, oh no, there's going to be a Twitch coming in here. Whereas I don't think people really do that anymore. So I think you can get away with a bit more with Twitch. Obviously counts as mirrors as well, although mirrors are also counted by other things this season. So I think despite the F2, and bear in mind, this tier list is not just about the gadget, it's about the kit they bring, the sidearms they bring, the secondary gadgets they bring. I still think with how good the Twitch drone is, it finds itself there in B. Monty. Now, this is a bit contentious because I am not a Monty fan. However, a good Monty is really, really solid. I just don't think I've ever played with a good Monty, or at least not consistently. So, Monty is good, but for me, you lose an assault rifle, and I'm just not particularly worried about Montys that push me because... I don't know, I feel like I can just punch the shield and shoot their ankles if I need to. I know that's easier said than done. But having a Monty walking towards me just doesn't really phase me that much, that often anyway. And it means one less assault rifle. Although it does generally bring some quite good secondary utility these days as well. So, used in the correct... This is what we said about on the defender tier list. Used in the correct circumstances is here, but not used in the correct circumstances is here. I think overall C's a fair grade. Ash. Oh, this is a tough one, actually. I'm really tempted to put Ash here, you know. No, I'll put Ash here. I think that's the sensible thing to do. Ash is... Oh, hang on, I'm just thinking about other attackers here. Who's actually going to go here? I can think of 3 maybe off the top of my head, but I am tempted to put Ash there. Just an all-round great op. 2 great gun options. Breaching charges and Ash charges to be able to... And you know what? I'm doing it. That's controversial. I know that, but I'm doing it, especially with the change to mirrors. Being able to just crack mirrors from such a distance now is insanely good. And I think this is the season we start to see more Ash. I think if you've been watching the multi-qualification games, then you've definitely seen a lot more Ash. But don't forget, Ash is actually really good vertically as well. 2 Ash charges and 3 breaching charges to make a lot of vertical. So I'm actually going to put Ash there, especially the mirror change that I thought about has just tipped her up to S for me. Thermite, my boy. Thermite's in a difficult place at the moment because Tubarão ruins his day quite consistently. If Thermite puts a charge on the wall and activates it, and Tubarão freezes it, Bandit takes his battery off the wall, puts his battery back on the wall, and just as Tubarão shoots the gadget, the Thermite charge is gone and there's not much you can do about it. So, even though I love Thermite, he sits there at the moment. I think he sits there at the moment because he's still incredibly good. Still being able to open a reinforced wall like that is still good. But yeah, he probably sits about there. IQ, now got frag grenades, remember? But I still think IQ goes there. No, there. Yes, IQ scanner is incredibly useful, but the problem with that is you need to have a team that's going to do something about the information that you're providing. Yes, you might say there's a Fenrir FNAT on this door. Great. You could be 2 stories up and 20 meters or whatever the range of IQ scanner is nowadays, but say 12 meters away, whatever, and you ping the Fenrir FNAT. You've got to be able to do something about that. So it's great knowing where all these things are, but it's not so easy to then do something about it unless you're working with a well-coordinated team. I still think she fits about there, although could take frags. 2, 3 good gun options, actually. Yeah, I think she still sits there for me. Blitz. I generally am less worried about Blitz than Monty because you can shoot Blitz's feet almost every time unless he's crouched walking towards you, in which case he's really slow. Again, when running at someone in a really small space, he's there. When he's in a 1v3, he's there. Do you know what I mean? It's a tough one. I still don't think shield operators are great at the moment. However, the shield operator change is coming soon. Excuse me. Before I have another choking attack, I'll have another little drink. The change is coming soon, isn't it? Is it mid this season, perhaps? I think it's going. So that probably will mean these change because you can reload your behind your shield. You can look around behind your shield. There's a ton of different changes coming. So they may change. Glaz. I'm sorry, folks, but he goes there for me. I think one of the things that you can do to improve your game in Siege is learn what each weapon sounds like. And they are fairly distinctive. I reckon I could call 80% of the guns if I heard the gun shot in the next room. I bet you I could tell you what guns they are. And that's what Glaz suffers with so much as well. His DMR is so distinctive that as soon as you hear a smoke go, and you hear that DMR in the round, you know not to peek it. I don't think he's that good. Yes, he's got a bearing secondary, and he's now a 3-speed, and yes, he's got frags, but you're not taking the frags over the smokes on Glaz, are you? I just think he's a bit lost at the minute. I just think he's... I feel like I'm doing a bit of a disservice, because I don't think he's that much worse than other operators, but he's one of the worst for me at the minute. Fuse. Fuse goes there, and I'll tell you for why. Because people don't realise, or generally don't realise, how good Fuse is and how... I've made loads of videos about it. You know what? I'm going to do it now quickly. I've made loads of videos about Fuse, right? But I'm going to tell you quickly, for those of you that haven't seen my video, and I'm going to make this quick. Fuse's charge goes like this, right? This is the ceiling. Fuse is here, and he's put his charge here. Every single time you play Fuse, and every single time you start the... my work laptop just went off. Apologies. It's a bit bright, isn't it? Every single time you press the Fuse charge, the pattern always goes right to left. One like this, one straight down, one bit to the left, and one far left every single time. And that is the same that if you do it on a wall, as in opposite the wall, the same thing will happen. Obviously, this is going sideways here, so that's not the true reflection. I've done one too many. So it's 5 pallets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you're looking down on the floor and you put your Fuse charge here, Your pallets are going to land 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, granted, they do hit the floor and bounce around a little bit as well, so it's not always a guaranteed science. But when you understand that pattern, if you put the fuse charge, bear in mind that it only goes off which way the fuse charge is facing. So if the fuse charge is facing this direction, then it'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If the fuse charge is facing this direction, it'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are you with me? It's always right to left, depending which way you're facing. Once you learn that about fuse, you can start understanding when you're playing vertically about which way you can line them all the way down along the back of Armory on Clubhouse. You can line them all the way down in between the kitchen cabinets on Cafe. You can line them on Border's a great example. You can line it all the way down Workshop and Border. A really solid operator that's a little bit misunderstood. Plus he brings hard breach charges and an AK. Great operator. Buck. Oh, I think Buck's up there, you know. If Sledge is there, Buck has to go there for me, especially with his kit. The C8's incredible. Obviously, the underslung shotgun's amazing, especially for playing vertically from underneath as well. But also hard breach charges and a Gon 6. The man brings everything. He's the solo queue god. Brings everything. He's right up there for me. Blackbeard straight in there. No questions asked. Offers very little. Yes, he's got nades now. Pocket EMPs. But his ability is poor. His guns aren't great. The DMR is not a bad DMR if you like DMRs, but his assault rifle's pretty poor. Very low capacity, low fire rate. Just a bit lost at the moment. I've heard someone say to me that the OSA change should have been a Blackbeard rework, which I thought... the OSA change. OSA's ability should have been a Blackbeard rework, which I thought was interesting. Being able to... Blackbeard just takes his... Instead of it being a shield on his gun, he carries the shield, which I thought was an interesting change. I'm going to have a drink, sorry. Oh, peach juice is delightful. Capitao. Ooh. By the way, I'm thinking here, he's either here or here. Capitao, again, is insane at the moment. I'm putting him there. I'm a big Capitao believer. And again, he's another operator like Buck that can do everything. Brings hard breach charge, he's Gon 6, his Para's one of the best guns on attack. The ability to smoke and fire, obviously, is incredible. Being able to take areas like rafters on Clubhouse. I was playing a game of rank the other day, and it was the people that were attacking were a good team, right? But what they did was insane. I was playing on the wall next to box 1 on Clubhouse Basement with a mirror, and they capitowed me off the mirror. They capitowed like next to the mirror from the stock hatch on Clubhouse. So I had to move, and someone was holding me from the kitchen hatch when I ran away. And it was just, Capitao is so good for that, where you can say to a teammate, hold this area, I'm about to Capitao flame bolt this area, there's going to be someone that runs away. And that's exactly what they did. And I died, and I was like, oh man, how would that? And in the end, I had to be like, you know what, that's incredibly well played. It was really, really well played. Habana. Often known as a hard breacher, she should be retitled as a hatch breacher. Because hard breaching at the moment is much better done by Thermite or by Ace, wherever Ace is here. Should be, so it's much better getting hatches than those guys. However, what Habana is really good at is a castle counter. So you think about Clubhouse defending gym bedroom, not gym basement, gym bedroom. And there's going to be a castle usually on the main stairs window, the gym door, the gym window, and either the master window or the construction window. You can get rid of those 4 castles within 20 seconds of the round using just 2 Habana pallets on each one. And it means you don't have to have a sledge that has to put himself in danger going next to the castle. It means you don't have to waste an Ash Charge or a Zephyr Impact or a Gon 6. You can get rid of all those castle barricades using only 8 Habana pallets, and you can do it right at the start of the round. So, again, another operator that possibly needs to be thought about how we use Habana, because, like I say, traditionally she's hard breach. Still is hard breach. But is better at hatches and castles, in my opinion. So, and Azami barricades. Don't forget, you can get rid of Azami barricades with Habana. So, you go think of a site, again, gym bedroom, all rafters on Clubhouse. All of them to keep thinking about is Clubhouse here, but it's the map I played most recently. Trying to think about all the good Azami setups. You can stop that straight away with Habana. Just 2 Habana pallets on each Azami Kiba, and you're sorted. So, with that in mind, I think Habana probably sits herself here. She still suffers from having a low-capacity primary weapon, even though it's a really good primary weapon. It's very low capacity, which causes some problems, but she does have the bearing secondary you can back up on. But also, the X-Kairos pallets take a bit of time to go off, don't they? Like, it's not a quick process. Jackal. This is an interesting one, because I'm still going to put Jackal there, you know. It's still going to put him up there. Whilst Jackal pings for his whole team, including himself, he's still an incredibly good operator at clearing roamers. Still has 2 great guns, the PDW as well, and the... can't remember what his assault rifle is. Jackal's assault rifle, whatever it's called, is also solid. Being able to just go to top floor on bank when you're attacking the basements, rappel into CEO, have your goggles on, and sort of wander around the map until you see a footprint, stop, scan it, find out where they are, is just incredibly powerful. Especially on big maps like Villa and like Bank, where you haven't got time necessarily to drone everywhere. You can cut out a bit of that time with Jackal to see the footprints. Have anyone been here, yes or no? Still think he's a great operator. Shotgun secondary, of course. Ying. Ying's legit insane at the minute, man. Ying is honestly insane. The flashbangs are mad, aren't they? The Candelas are insane. The primary weapon is wild. It's an LMG that doesn't take any time to reload at all. Has incredibly good fire rate and relative to what the weapon is, and incredibly good damage output. And 80 rounds I think is standard. And you can have a 1.5, and there's very little recoil. The weapon is right up there. Plus the Candelas, plus the Hard Breach. Again, a very capable solo queue operator, or an operator that works incredibly well as part of a team when you can do a coordinated push and flash out certain areas and then take them, a bit like Capitao. I think you'd find, if you looked at most comp lineups now, you'd probably find Ying and Capitao on there on the flex positions more than you would find Ash and Zafir, which is what they were traditionally used as. Speaking of Zafir, Zafir goes, I think, there for me at the minute. I play a lot of Zoph because I think she's just really well rounded, obviously with the impacts, the concussions, and the breaching charges. Primary weapon, pistol's got the sight on as default. The primary weapon used to be unbelievable. It's now very average because of the recoil. It's still okay to use. It's not like when the recoil was first changed, it was like impossible to use that weapon. Whereas now it's difficult, but it's still manageable. But still, why would you take Zafir now when you could take Ash, who can also pop mirrors? Yes, you've got the stuns. She go there. I still think she lives in B. I'm on the fence there, though. If there was another tier, she'd go in between the two. Dokkaebi. I was thinking about who to put in S, and now I'm looking at this and putting everybody in S. Dokkaebi. Where does Dokkaebi live these days? EMPs. It is limit. Okay, I'm going to put Dokkaebi here. I ban Dokkaebi every time I play a ranked game. It's my default ban. But that's because I don't really like playing against her. She is still a 3-speed, however, is limited with a primary weapon by only having a DMR. And for those who aren't great with, or the Bosch G, but let's pretend we're never going to use the Bosch G in a serious setting, other than a bit of casual for fun. The DMR is difficult to some people. I'm not great with DMRs, and I know other people that aren't, but some people are great with DMRs. Onigiri used to play for Elevate. So, and many other players. So, I'm so tempted to put her there. Again, I'm torn there. I'm going to put her there because this is a tier list for me and not a tier list for everybody else. So if I'm not great with the DMR, that's where I think she lives. Incredibly good gadget, pocket EMPs, decent secondary with the SMG-12 as well, which I'm enjoying seeing people use a bit more. Everyone used to just write that off because the recoil's high, but it is usable. Finker. This is going to get some hate here because I don't rate Finker at all. Before Finker was given nades, I would have put her here. Or maybe there. But now she's got nades. I don't think she's that good. I honestly don't. I think the health boost is more of a hindrance sometimes because you don't get any audio. I'm putting Finker there. You don't get any audio when you get Finker boosted. Like, you can't, if you're pushing somewhere and you need to hear the footsteps, you can't hear anything. You just hear this like warble sound. Not nice. And what do you get? 35 HP? I think you get as a boost off the top of my head. 30, 35 HP. Not a great deal. Less than one bullet for most guns. That the 30. Most guns do 30 to 40 damage. Some more. So not a great deal of a health boost. It's good if you get knocked down, you can get Finker boosted back up. But even then, it's still not great. If it wasn't for the frag grenades, I would be confident in putting a lower. But I still don't think Finker's great. Lion, a good operator at the minute. But he's always been a good operator, right? Like, I think he's always been good, especially when he was released. Lion goes there for me. When used with other operators like a Ying so they can't run away from the flash. Or when used with a Dokkaebi, for example, the line in Dokkaebi is synergy is ages old. But when used well, obviously, it's very effective. Sometimes, though, you can just be lion scanned and be like, okay, I'll just stand still for 3-4 seconds, no problem, and then just move again. So, I mean, his primary gun is very good, though, isn't it? That the Vector with a higher capacity, is like the Vector AR, whatever it's called, not sure, VR308 or something like that, a V308. Really solid gun. Does bring a decent kit. Oh, potentially there. No, I'm going to put him there. I can't put everybody up here. Right, Maverick, straight away for me in there. Maverick's incredible at the minute because he's got no counters. With the introduction of Tubarão and how easy it is now to counter Thermite, Ace, Habana, and other pocket hard breach charges, it is now almost essential to bring Maverick on sites where they're getting the wall open is essential. So like on basement, on night even, on CCTV, on club, on basement, on chalet, etc., etc. It's almost imperative that you bring a Maverick now. So I highly recommend you go and watch the Maverick video. But I also highly recommend you learn how to use his torch effectively. And if you do get Tubarão when you're using Maverick's torch, just stop. Wait for the Tubarão to expire after 12 seconds, is it, I think? Wait for the Tubarão's auto canister to expire and then carry on Marvin. Don't keep Marvin when it's frozen because it takes twice as much of the capacity of the torch to go through a frozen wall. And you end up running out of the canisters so much faster. So just wait. It's only like 10-12 seconds you have to wait for this auto canister to go. Nomad. Nomad's just a workhorse of attack, isn't she? Like, never a bad operator. Is never going to break it into S tier, though. Probably goes there for me. I think it's easy to hear Nomad charges. It's easy to hear them deployed, and it's easy to hear them when you go anywhere near a door that's got one on. It's an obvious sound. You can also get rid of air jabs from pretty much anywhere if you just look underneath at the air jab. But you don't go too far out because it'll go off, but if you look under a doorway or next to a doorway, you can generally shoot the air jab. But still really useful for a lot of teams to obviously watch flanks. Decent guns with the ARX and the AK, but just a middle of the road attacker for me. But I still think she's good. I think she's really good. Gridlock. This will be interesting to see where I put Gridlock compared to Nomad because they sort of rival each other with the job they do. But I prefer Gridlock. I do. I prefer Gridlock. Yeah, I do. I'm just thinking about scenarios where who would I rather have, and I think I prefer Gridlock. Gridlock can cover quite a few different areas, like quite a large number of areas with the tracks. Has nades, secondary shotgun, good weapon. The F90 is an incredible gun, by the way, drastically underused. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the F90 used on another attacker soon because it's a really good gun. And yeah, nades, granted 1 speed, so not as favourable as others, but solid operator, and I think she does pip Nomad to the post because she does more than Nomad. Yes, Nomad can watch the flanks pretty easily on doorways and things, but Nomad can do that and more. You just got to be careful of people shooting the Nomad tracks, which can be quiet at times. Knock. Another operator for me who I think is poo, to be bluntly honest. I'm putting Knock there, you know. Knock for me brings nothing. A gadget is rubbish, right? Apart from the odd time where you get on your cameras and you see a Knock disappear and you go, oh, Knock's just used their ability. How often have you ever said that? It's so rare. A gun is incredibly weak for attack. Obviously, it's the same gun Smoke uses on defense. Yes, she has nades, but obviously we know nades have been nerfed a little bit now. So Knock probably used to be there for me, but is now here. Just doesn't bring anything to the table for me. Like, why would you take Knock over Finker with nades? I don't know why you would. Why would you take Knock over Gridlock with nades? A little bit faster, maybe. That's it. I would probably rather you play Blackbeard with nades. I just don't rate Knock. I think a gadget is sort of a little bit overrated. I just don't think it brings that much for me, unfortunately. Amaru goes there. Fairly easy one, that for me. Not the worst, but also very situational and easy to stop when you know it's happening. Obviously, you hear the sound, you know an Amaru's coming in somewhere. Usually played by people who can't be bothered to drone or walk into the map. So they just try and fly through a window and get a couple of frags. Then they die, they go on TikTok and try to do it all over again. And then play Warden on defense and Spawn Peak. We all know the type of people I'm talking about. But a reason she's here and not here is because she can be super useful at taking areas quickly when used correctly, or when used more effectively, should I say, because correct isn't the right word. There's no right and wrong. But there's a more effective way to use Amaru. But also, going up hatches is something that's a little bit underrated. When there's a push going on, like if you're pushing from Trophy Door or from the breach on Oregon, the closet breach, being able to go up the kids' hatch straight away is pretty helpful. And there's a ton of other sides where going up the hatch is underrated, and can catch defenders out quite well. Callie. You know what? Callie's not as bad as you think she is. Lance is a very good bit of utility. The problem is it's attached to a one-shot sniper rifle. That's the issue. However, now she can also penetrate mirrors like Ash. I feel like Callie deserves a space up from here. Being able to obviously get rid of utility like wall denial through walls, but also being able to get rid of Kiba barriers is a massively helpful way of using a utility. But I also think I would buff Callie if I was working at Ubisoft, and I would give her a DMR. I would give her who's DMR? I'd give her Dokubi's and Aruni's DMR, and have the attachment on there. And I think you'd see Callie's pick rate fly through the roof. And I think she'd be far more balanced. At the minute, having a sniper rifle in this type of game isn't overly advantageous. So yeah, just fine. The utility is great, but the rest of the kit is really struggling. Iana. I mean, she's been up here for so long, but with the change of nades, I think Iana now slips to here. Not quite S tier for me, but still incredibly solid. Great entry choice. Being able to burn a Rooney Gates for free, essentially, is incredibly strong. Just an aggressive operator. If you've got a good gunner on your team who can use flashbangs well and is not a completely mindless gunner, because with the Iona you can still be like, wait, hang on, I've got a free drone. I can just use my clone. As long as you can do that, then yeah, incredibly strong, but not S like she was because of the nade change. Probably finds herself now in A. And she doesn't have nades anymore, does she? When I say the nade change, she actually got the nades taken off Iona when they were given to Finker and to Gridlock, right? I think that's right. I don't play Iona much, so I can't quite remember that, but I'm pretty sure she lost nades. Ace, boom, right up there. Best hard breacher at the minute. Struggles with hatches, that's the only thing. He can only get one hatch, and if that hatch gets impact tricked, he can't get any hatches. So yeah, finds himself up here at the moment. Incredibly good gun. Still the best hard breacher. Can counter bandit tricking by opening both sides of the wall. Obviously, if two brows there, it's a bit more of a problem. But still right up there. Can obviously throw over Selmas at electrified hatches as well. Watch the Ace video if you want to learn how to do that. Can also throw Selmas at Kiba barriers, which is incredibly helpful at times. So yeah, still finds himself up there at S. And that composition there at the top for 5 operators that you'd want to play, I don't think that's a million miles away from being probably the best 5 you could take. Maybe I would take Gridlock instead of Ash. Put the entry on Ying. I'm not sure. It's those 5 there is an interesting composition. Right, anyway, moving on to 0. I want to put 0S, but I'm not going to. We've got a lot in A here. I'm going to put 0 at A. Or do I put him at S? The problem with 0 is you tend to need other players to watch your cameras for you. Because when you're watching your own cameras, you watch your camera, you come off your camera, and the information is only as good as what you saw just as you came off your camera. And in the time that you come off your camera and move 5 meters to peek something, the player that you saw on your camera at a certain point is now elsewhere on the map. So it's not live info. It's reliant on other players or other teammates, helping you with that information. But I mean, the gun's incredible. Gone 6, 4 cameras, 2 drones, so much information. Being able to put those cameras in the amount of creative places that you can. Check the 0 video for that if you want to learn how to do that. Still fine. I am tempted to go there, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go there. Flores, this is getting really tough now because I reckon Flores, Osa, Grim, and Ram are probably all about A tier at the moment. However, Flores again is just so good. I'm gonna put Flores there. You know, the problem with Flores is he's just directly countered by Mute and Mozzie, obviously, but mainly Mute, and his drones are so fragile. But if you play Flores carefully and thoughtfully, and take your drones through windows and through drone holes that the attackers are not expecting, you can get rid of all sorts of utility. And easily done as well, because the range of the Flores drone, Rotero drone, they call it, aren't they? The range of the Rotero drone is so big, it's easy to destroy deployable shields, bulletproof cameras, and Kiba barriers, all in one drone, depending on where you manage to blow it up. So, yeah, Flores sits there. I was actually a bit worried that I wasn't going to be able to put anyone in S. And now I'm thinking, is Ash S or is Ash A? I don't know, I'll keep her in S for now. Osa. Oh, the pocket EMP. Right, so Osa I want to put here, but I can't put everyone in A, so I think I might pip Osa down one. Down to here. Because no, you can't do that. You've got to put her here. Osa has to go there. Two incredibly good guns, obviously the 5.56 and the PDW. The problem with Osa players is they tend to think they're Monty, and they walk into rooms with the shield up and thinking, oh, I'm safe, I've got my shield up. And you can just shoot the feet every time, especially when she deploys a shield. She lifts a shield up before putting it down, and it gives you a really good opportunity to shoot the ankles and generally get the kill. However, just one impact grenade and Osa is absolutely stuck. Like, people stand outside the CCTV breach on Clubhouse behind an Osa shield, like, you can't shoot me. And just one impact and they're just there in the open. And there's nothing they can do about it. So it is, I think the fact that she brings two great guns and pocket EMPs puts her here, based on gadget alone, probably goes here. But up there with the whole kit. Sense. Nades now, as well, don't forget. And a 3-speed. Was a 1-speed, now a 3-speed. Sense goes... and massive recoil reduction on their LMG. Sense goes there, and I'm standing by this. Their utility is very... what's the right word I'm thinking of? Situational. I want to say subjective then. Situational. But if you can learn some Sense lineups... I keep talking about Clubhouse, but it's the map I think about all the time. You can throw a Sense gadget through the drone hole on Clubhouse to top red, and cut off top red so you can walk through the breach. You can do the same on the garage side to cut off the garage window and the garage head holes, and you can then walk into site. There's a ton of different places where you can utilize drone holes and utilize Sense lineups to bounce off walls to just create a curtain to walk in. But they're underrated and underthought of, so people don't usually want to play them. But I think with the addition of frags as well, and the reduction on the LMG, and now a 3-speed, I think they probably go there. Grim. Excuse me. Grim sits. Bayleaf secondary. The Bs are pretty useful these days because you can bounce them now, and the gun is strong. No, I think Grim goes there. Oh, I don't know if that's right. Does Grim go up one? I think maybe Grim goes up one into A again. But I can't put everybody in A. But looking at these operators, right, I'm not just putting everybody in A. When you look at A here, they genuinely are A-tier operators, aren't they? Arguably S-tier. Arguably S-tier. Arguably S-tier. So, I don't think there's many that should be in C. I'm not looking at this and thinking, actually, Lion should drop down, Nomad should drop down. I'm not thinking that either. I just think we've got a lot of fun and well-balanced operators at the moment. Yeah, I think Grim goes B. The reason I'm putting Grim B is... when you're in the Bs, you don't have to move. Whereas Capital, when you're in the Firebolt, you got to move or you're going to get your toes burnt and you're going to die. When you're playing Grim, if you're playing Rafters on Clubhouse and you stood in the Bs, fine. They've still got to push you. Yes, they know where you are, but they knew where you were anyway. They knew you're on Rafters. Being in a B storm doesn't mean you have to move, but you see it all the time where people end up in the Grim Bs and they just run away and get shot because they've run away out of the cover. Like, you don't need to move. They already know you're there. That's why they fired the Bs in that area. Just hold strong and let them push you, maybe. I don't know, but I think the fact that you don't have to move in the Bs, it just gives a ping away. I think probably goes there. Right, we're getting there now. Brava. another really tough one. Oh, man. Brava's good. Really good. But suffers a little bit with what Flores suffers from sometimes, in the sense that one shot and that drone's gone. It's not quiet either. Like, if you're defending, you hear a Bravo drone, you know exactly what you've heard. But being able to enter say Oregon, for example. You can enter the front door of Oregon, you can get the lobby camera, you can go up top main and get the armory camera, and you can go down to showers, the hallway, and get the shower camera. And you've got 3 flank cams then. And you've done nothing. The only thing is for Brava is it's the lights on the cameras are easily spotted by defenders. Or if you're defending, you've seen a camera that's been hacked by Brava, you straight away you can be like, oh yeah, it's obvious that that's hacked, and you just shoot it, don't you? But there's more to Brava's game than that. Like going into busy areas where you can take over Fenrir's and take I mean, that's the ultimate, isn't it? Taking over, I keep saying taking over, hijacking or hacking Capcan traps, and then have a defender walk through those traps and you getting the kill. I don't know if you've done that yet, but it's incredible. I've done it once, but I wasn't streaming. Which sounds like a likely story. Yeah, of course you have, mate. And you weren't streaming at the time. Yeah, of course you did, pal. I did, actually, I promise. Ram. Ram goes there. She probably goes there, actually, let's be honest. Ram goes there. The only thing for me with Ram is obviously now has less utility than when they were first on the test server, because she's now only has 3 boogie drones and doesn't have all breach charges, but still does have a secondary shotgun for additional damage from below. Just bear in mind that Ram is only... I'm tempted to put her there. Ram is only good, really, when you're obviously attacking below. So if you're attacking a top floor site, Ram's no good to you, usually. Well, I can't think of a top floor site where I'd take a Ram. However, really good for getting in a building early, because you can just chuck your boogie through the barricade and jump in straight away. Take areas so quickly. That was a really good... Do you ever do a good click and you're like, that was a great connection? That was one of them then. You can take areas so quickly. The only thing for me with Ram is sometimes I feel like you can open up too much of the floor. And when you want to open up lines of sight with Buck or Sledge, you open little sort of squares or whatever you want to say, and you've got a little point of looking through on the angle that favours you. Whereas with Ram, it's just like open all the floor. And I'm sure you've been on the receiving end of it yourself when you're playing with a Ram, that you look you look down and someone's already staring at you from below and you die. So it can be a little bit too much vertical destruction with Ram. But still just so good on those sites where you just want to take above and open up, like kitchen and clubhouse. Like just throw 2 into kitchen and clubhouse, the whole floor's opened up. Throw another one down the hallway in clubhouse, the outside kitchen, and that whole floor's opened up. It is really strong. Thinking about it, definitely deserves to be an A. And obviously a great gun in the R4C with a 1.5 or a 2X, although I think that's a little bit too much. So there we have it. Looking at that now, who do I think could probably do who do I think I'm not sure about? I'm maybe not sure about Ash being here. Maybe should be A, sorry. I think Flores might need to be A, although I still think they're justified being up there. I think Zero could be S. I think Mav could be S. And I think Osa could be S. I think Thatcher could also be S, potentially, with the amount of utility that he can help disable at the moment. But that's the thing with Thatcher, right? You only disable it. It comes back on 12 seconds later or whatever the timing is. I don't think there's many that should be lower. I don't think you can... Maybe IQ could have ended up here. But I think the nades and how good our weapons are pump her up to there. These 3 are completely justified for me. Not a fan at all. But there we have it. The official attacker tier list of 2024 for Year 8 Season 4 going into 2024. It's the 22nd of December by my watch today. I say watch. I've looked down in the corner of the screen. So, look, if you watch this and you've got this far, thank you very much. And obviously have a very Merry Christmas. If you're watching this in like January or February, it probably hasn't got that much meaning to you. But I don't know what my posting schedule is going to be over Christmas. I'm not around for Christmas Day and Boxing Day. I'm down south with my partner's family. So I'm not going to have a chance to put many videos on then. I'll hopefully get another one out before Christmas of some variety. But yeah, as always, thank you for all the support for this year. Have a belting Christmas. Hopefully you agree with the attacker tier list, and if you don't, tell me in the comments below and tell me why, because that's the beauty of Siege. Everyone has a different opinion, and sometimes I read the comments and go, that's actually a really good point. You're dead right. So if you've got a good point, get it in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.